I think comparing medical emergencies to a normal, healthy, vibrant woman is like comparing a train wreck to the train schedule.
Have studies been done?
Oh my gosh,
and what are
we
the
have
studies?
so many studies on water birth and home birth, and the studies all say that home birth is just as safe as hospital birth.
No, they don't. That's what you're misinterpreting.
All the studies
no,
say,
they don't.
As
they say there is a low level, but no, they actually come out and they say, no, they do. They actually say that more babies end up in the NICU. Yes, they do, and they have more complications with the baby than at home birth. So that's because they can't go get to the care.
And your rebuttal?
My rebuttal is that home births attended by trained professionals have the same or better outcomes than hospital births. One of the reasons that I had a water birth at home, the second birth, was that I wanted the gentleness for the baby. And I gave birth, and that baby swam out. He's 27 years old. He swam out like a little dolphin.
Okay, let's talk about this. Gentleness for the baby. Most of the time, the amniotic fluid ruptures during labor. So you don't have any more fluid in there. And if something goes wrong, you're sitting in water that's full of crap and pee and blood, and you're trying to figure out how to get this baby to safety. And again, I don't care if you're sitting in a bath full of champagne, as long as it's safe. But you won't be sitting in a bath full of champagne. You'll be sitting in your own poop and your own urine and your own blood. And they have shown that there are more infections in underwater baby births. Yes, they have.
The research does not say that.
I have seen both ways.
The research, there's a 2010 study that just came out of Italy that says the solution to pollution is dilution, because you've got this body of water, and the bacteria, if there is bacteria, is much less in the water than if you have a woman giving birth and she's exposed the baby to her bacteria that way. But let's look at the studies. If you go out and look on the internet, you go to my website, I've got all of the studies listed.
And you can also go on the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology and the American Pediatric Association and Society, and you also find the exact opposite of that, where babies aspirate, they have more pneumonias, they have more complications, and they end up more often in the NICU.
What's aspirate?
You know what?
That's where they inhale the fluid.
You said a very
more pneumonia.
You said a very critical word earlier on. You said opinion. It's their opinion that that's what happens, but the correlation of the research is not.
Their opinion is based on medical evidence.
It is not.
And they cite references. Yes, they cite references and they cite publications. And
there's no correlation between the large studies which compare 3,000 water births to 3,000 land births. Those babies are better. They have less NICU admissions. The mothers have less vaginal or perineal tearing. When you compare populations, it's much better. I just finished last week grand rounds at Case Western University. I taught doctors. All the residents came in. They were blown away by this. Case Western does water births. We've got every major medical center that has a teaching hospital
does water births. What they do
in hybrid model, though, where you're teaching medical professionals who can jump in when something goes wrong. Because my number one question is you're there, right? There's no Dr. Lisa. You're not in the hospital. Something's gone wrong.
And
what do you do?
But there's a trained medical professional at home.
And the number one key here, and this is, we have to go to break.
Sometimes there's just a backup position, and that's why I won't back up home births, because I'm not going to be called from some nightmare train wreck and be responsible. If I'm responsible for a baby, I am responsible for a baby, and I will make damn sure that that baby comes out safe.
The one thing that we will all agree on here is that prenatal care is so
vital,
very important